Going on to question number 11 now. Here, we're being asked for the intersection of these two functions. And for intersections, you want to get both equations in the y equals format and set them equal. So for us, we can take away 8x from both sides here, and we would have y equals negative 8x minus 11. And on the other one, we can take away 341 from both sides. It will have y is 2x squared minus 341. So we got them both in the y equals format, and if we set them equal, we'll have negative 8x minus 11 equals 2x squared minus 341. And now we can remind ourselves that this is a quadratic, and quadratics are situations where, first of all, they have some variation of y equals x squared, but when you have them equal to 0, or something that can be set equal to 0, that's what you want to do. You want to get everything on one side equal to 0 with the x squared term being positive. And so for us, that'll mean adding 8x to both sides and adding 11 to both sides. So then we'll have 0 equals 2x squared plus 8x minus 330. We can make this a lot nicer looking by realizing that there's a common factor of 2 and dividing everything by 2. So we'll have 0 equals x squared plus 4x minus 165. And so now we have a quadratic, and our first choice in quadratics, especially when they're equal to 0 already, is always to factor them. Now, in our situation, we have something that has a b and a c coefficient. So that'll be bc factoring, where you need two numbers that add to b and multiply to c. If you want to know more about the difference between bc factoring and abc factoring and how to start the two of them, go ahead and pause the video and read this longer explanation. But for us, we need two numbers that add to 4 and multiply to negative 165. They multiply to a negative, which means that they have opposite signs. And they add to a positive, which means the bigger of the two numbers is positive. So now a lot of people, if they have to factor something like this, will be very intimidated by that because it's got that giant number 165. But really, there are a lot of situations like that on the SAT, and you want to be in the habit of just quickly dividing by everything you can before you have time to complain or think to yourself, this would take a long time. So on my calculator, I'm going to divide 165 by 1, by 2, by 3, by 4, by 5. On maybe using common sense, realizing that there are certain numbers that can't be divided by. And I'm looking for the combination that if you add them up, you'll get 4. And it took me as long as this to figure out that this factors to x plus 15 and x minus 11, because those are the two numbers that would add to positive 4 and multiply to negative 165. Now we have our zero product rule, which says that we're going to set each of these equal to 0, and we'll get x is negative 15 and x is positive 11. So what is a possible value of x? Negative 15 or positive 11. So we couldn't have picked B because that was negative 11. So the answer here is A.